I wanna be the best in the game, invest in my name. Check no restraints, I'm obsessed with the pain. I ingest, I retain, assess and I change. Possessed by the thought I'll be free one day from society's restraints. Money, clout and fame, mud, disease, a plague. We all love to hate, have to play the game, have to make a name. All our insecurities are on display. This is war with the enemy, think that it was meant to be. Living in a time where disease is on every screen. I won't let them fester me, I know most are festering. Negativity is a plague for the mentally weak. No mercy, all I got is working. Never stop searching, never quite so thirsty. I'm toxic and psychotic, with this logic you can't stop it. It's been chronic since I was a boy, so neurotic and chaotic.
Built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grieving. Put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah.
I've been doing this, I'm on it. I just wanna be iconic. Sipping on a gin and tonic, got me going off when I'm on this topic, yeah. If I ever play, I want it. You know that I'm always honest. Stay away from those who are toxic. Keep them out your face, no way, you don't want it, yeah. Don't try to drain my energy. The enemy is everything. It's mentally, unhealthily, spreading like a rare disease. But I won't let it get to me. I don't need your therapy. I can leave a legacy of leading by intensity. Come on, we can fight this. Freedom is priceless. Spread just like a virus. Living in a crisis. Do you feel courageous? Do you seek greatness? Trust me, you can take it. Go on and take your aim.
I'm built to last with the webs I'm weaving. I could change the past with all I'm achieving. Got my foot on gas, never stop competing. If you break like glass, then this life's gonna eat 'em. Make mistakes real fast, then you learn how to beat 'em. If you take off the cast, you can see all the healing. If the pain's in the past, move on from the grieving. Put your foot on the gas, no, never stop competing, yeah.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me, yeah.
Turn on your mind now, tune into the feed. We're planting digital flowers from a single tiny seed. Yeah, power to the collective in the data and the soul. The hive mind's getting louder, finding voice and control.
When we get to the FBI, we don't know who did the work. You heard that any of that information is redacted. We don't know who did the work. It's a giant secret. We know that by the time the FBI gets involved, the profile, the text file, that's a snip to use to try to identify somebody is more than twice as big when it gets to the FBI from Othram. We don't know how.
I've got an itch I can't scratch, I'm missing a piece that completes a whole part of me. An open wound scar to see. Everybody come here, gather round. Welcome to the freak show, the best in town.
What is going on, Hive? I am stoked to be back after a few days off for a business trip, but I can tell you I've been looking forward to this the entire time. Let me make sure I got my audio coming in loud and clear. Oh, yeah, we're all good to go. I miss you guys. And I've thought long and hard about how I want to start this Monday stream. And hopefully, this evening will show you how committed I am amongst many other creators in this space that are really yearning for the truth. And here's what I'll say. When it comes to the Idaho 4 case, so many people say, we want the answers. We want answers. And I'm starting to believe and almost realize that this is a lie. Are we at the point where we want permission to stop thinking? Where our brains can shut off and all of the he said, she said, well, what about this or what about that? Or am I hearing this in the audio or am I seeing that on video? It causes a lot of discomfort to the point where if you're honest with yourself, do you really want the truth or do you just want some sort of clarity? We are begging for clarity in this case. And then after realizing that, I started to wonder, well, we've known that this case isn't about justice or not even truth for that matter. Is this really just about relief? What is good enough to provide that relief? And I want to let everybody know this. I'm sure some people can wrap their head around this, but relief is one of the most dangerous motivations that a human can have when it comes to a tragedy. Because relief, it does not care if it's accurate. It does not care if it's fair. You only care as the human when you feel relief, is that pressure removed, is the uncomfortable, anxiety-riddled thought process, is that gone? Okay? And when you have a case like the Idaho 4, where people like you and me, we believe that we're owed a clean timeline or video that speaks clearly, a sequence of events that makes logical sense, we start to realize maybe the case isn't that complex. Maybe it's just how long can people carry the weight of a bunch of lies before they beg us for relief? And that's what makes you have to flip that switch in your brain where you say, I got to go back to the beginning. I got to restart. I got to look at things that everybody told me doesn't matter. Things like Brent Kopaka, for example. Why is his name being drawn into this? A Purple Heart recipient killed on December 15th, always rumored to somehow be involved or a part of people connected to the Idaho 4 case. And then poof, it's gone. Just like many, many other things, as we have seen throughout the Idaho 4 case debacle. And I say the debacle because it certainly is not an honest investigation. So that's what this evening's stream is going to be about. I got Devil's Advocate backstage. He's stoked. I'm stoked. If this is your first time tuning in, I'm your host, Birdie. I go live weeknights at 7 p.m. Central, and this is a contrarian thinking live stream. So if you couldn't tell by the intro, we think past the headlines. We're not afraid to ask the hard questions. And if you are offended or rattled on behalf of other people, you might as well get to scrolling, because we don't care if your feelings get hurt. We want the truth and only the truth. So if you have not hit that like button, please go ahead and do it. I'm going to put this full screen. All of my streams are free. The best way to support the channel are to just hit like, hit subscribe. If you want to screenshot this and then tap the QR code after the stream concludes, that will take you to all of my links, my TikTok. It will take you to the Hive Mind merch store, as well as our Discord, which is the 24/7 Hive Mind, I guess, headquarters, if you want to call it that, for when we are off stream. And that Discord is always popping. So if you're into the Idaho 4 or any true crime case or just narrative warfare, that's the spot to be. And as I said, if you screenshot this and then tap it into your photos, that should pull up a link that brings up all of those places to join. Now, I'm going to get All right, I'm back. I was going to say, I'm going to get DA up here rather quickly. It's been weird going on an every other week basis, right? I feel like DA is like my cool uncle that I want to talk to every week. I feel like he's the guy that at Thanksgiving dinner or Christmas dinner, both of our wives probably say, hey, don't talk politics, don't talk true crime. And then we get 3 beers in us and we just slam our hands on the table and we say, you know what? Aunt Jenny? I keep going in and out, but it's some of the clearest audio you've probably ever heard. And so without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to bring up Devil's Advocates. How you doing, brother man?
Good. Your stream keeps freezing on me. I'm like, you're in the middle of a. Oh, am I talking? Yeah, I am talking, right? It's like your stream keeps freezing, and now I'm like, shit. Am I on? Like, what? We got like a technical fuckery going on. Sorry.
Well, dude, I bought this Ethernet cable, like 150 footer, a huge cable, because like across our kitchen is where our like modem router thing is.
Yeah.
And I'm like wiring it and I'm taping it all to the door. I'm like, I can't have Mrs. Birdie see like this giant wire running perfectly against all the woodwork to my office. And I get it all connected just to have it say, this unit is not equipped with Ethernet.
Oh, snap.
It took me about an hour to get it all perfectly neat, and it took about 2 seconds to rip all this off. I was like running with the cord over my shoulder, just tape going,
yelling, "Son of a bitch, must be!"
It's like you ever seen like the dad crash outs, where like the flashlight holders to myself. Yeah,
that's hilarious. Oh, that's horrible, man.
Yeah, that was not fun. But no, I'm stoked to have you back on stream. I took a couple days off. I know we spoke briefly on the phone prior to hopping on live together, but I was down in Texas for a work trip, and full transparency, it was nice to get away and really not think so much about what has consumed my life the last 10 months, really almost every day for 2+ hours at least.
Right. Yeah, at this point, I don't know if I could take a vacation because I feel such panic about things not getting done and everything. I'm like, there's stuff happening every day. So at this point, I don't even know if it would be a relief for me to take a couple days off, or I would just be panicked the whole time. Like, oh my shit, what's going on in the cases? So I don't know.
Well, what I realized is it almost just like cemented some thoughts that I've had, which is, you're not going to get the truth thinking very basic about this case.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the plane and I'm rewatching lives. I'm watching clips. I'm watching all these, other people talk about the Idaho 4, and I'm not hating on anybody because I'm involved in it too. I'm like, none of us are providing a clear answer. Right.
Yeah.
Like the reference is like a game of Clue. It was this person, in the piano room with a wrench, right? Like very rarely do you hear somebody piece any of that together. It's become this gotcha. It's like this gotcha, you're lying in the court docs. Okay, well, what happened? Well, we don't know.
Right. Because the answer really is, the only thing we know for sure is it didn't happen the way they said it did. That to me is where I stand, because I agree with you. Like, we can't come up with a definitive, okay, everybody, this is what happened. Even though I bet you there's YouTubers and TikTokers that'll make a living by saying, okay, we just figured it out. Here's what happened. And they'll be happy to tell you exactly what happened. But I think at the end of the day, nobody really knows what happened, other than we all know it didn't happen the way they said they did. It defies common logic to think it happened the way they said it did.
That's true. And that really was just like solidified for me. And so being super excited for this stream, I actually popped onto your live, I think Thursday night last week, when you were showing some of the body cam about Kopaka, and I'm like, I've talked about him, but I've never gone super, super deep onto like, or into any of the body cam and stuff. And then I watched your video you posted in preparation for this, and you weren't lying when you told me on the phone, this is some of the clearest audio.
Yes.
And I will say this too. You and I both, we never put captions on our videos.
I hate it.
I hate it too. It creates this predisposition of bias for what you're hearing.
And yet,
so
I did it.
You did it, but I listened to it while I was driving.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Good. And then I re-listened to it when I actually got to the gym. And I was on the treadmill and I was like watching it. You were pretty spot on. So you did a good job.
I might have missed a couple things or got it a little bit wrong, but I would say it's 95% at least accurate. And it's kind of shocking in a way. And like I said, I don't like to do that. In fact, when I did that video, you may have noticed I put the raw footage at the end, saying, well, if you don't want to see my stuff, jump to the end and just watch the raw footage, because I don't like people predisposing it. But I got to tell you, I spent hours and hours and hours syncing a video that Lana had from the SWAT team, essentially across from Kopaka's room, versus the Moscow Police Department thing. And I synced it up where I was listening to the gunshots and I was timing the gunshots, and the videos are about 8 seconds off, and I had to sync them all. And I got both videos synced, and I could hear something super clear in one video that I couldn't hear in the other, but you could hear kind of garbled in the other. I spent hours compiling that shit to get voice overlays that, yes, on one video you can't hear it, but I'm telling you it's there, because if you listen to the other video, you'd hear it clear as day on the other video. So yeah.
No, you did a great job. And so I'm going to kind of give you the floor here to explain what you did to get this body cam footage, why you chose to get Kopaka's, body cam and hear about him getting swatted. And then also maybe a little bit on what you were just talking about, which is how did you, because people are going to see the captions, I'm assuming, in this clip, as well as you have really good photos of his.
I've got it both ways. To be fair, I've got the same exact footage without my captions, if you'd prefer people to watch it without my captions. But I think the captions will help people, if they're only going to see it once, to kind of see what's happening. But
well, let's do a little bit of a poll as you're starting to explain. So type a 1 if you want captions, type a 2 if you do not. 1 for captions, 2 for not. And we'll listen to whatever you guys say.
Because the concern I have is so much happens in that 8 minutes that it's like, without a little bit of and I can give a little bit of pretext before you listen to it, but is the 1 without or with? I can't remember.
1 is with, and I've seen a handful of 2s, but I'm definitely seeing more 1s.
Okay. I think it'll be helpful. I think it'll be helpful for them to see the captions. And if you really can't stand somebody telling you what you're going to hear, then shit, I would never tell them not to watch the live stream, but
no, just maybe
close your ears for a little bit,
or maybe like turn your phone like face down.
Yeah, right. Just don't watch the screen. Just don't watch the screen. That would be one way to handle that. Yeah.
And Blue Eyed Candy comes in with a $20 super chat. Great to see you, Blue Eyed Candy, saying the most unnerving part for me was the male voice that sounded like he was wailing out in pain. I took that as being Brent Kopaka. It was disturbing. And she said 1 for captions. Well, I could tell you, similar to the 1112 film that we've seen, there are noises that I think instinctually, as every human would have. That is, it's not a party noise. It's not playing or horsing around noises. It's
we're
talking about a grown-ass man who has been a veteran in combat making these noises.
Yeah. It's, in fact, it's I gained a lot of sympathy for Kopaka, because it seems clearly that the system failed Kopaka. He was a vet. He was having some issues. and it didn't need to go down this way. If you watched we watched 8 hours of that standoff, and they never de-escalated. They never de-escalated this man, and there was no reason to have ramped him up to the point that it got to what it did get to. And I literally have lost sleep thinking about Kopaka's final moments and realizing what kind of terror that guy had to have gone through, and it wasn't necessary, in my opinion. But
hey, this is completely unrelated, and then I want to get into this, and I know you got some pictures loaded up of Kopaka's apartment and what it looks like. So, but I do want to say this: have you ever seen the body cam footage of the Navy SEAL that's getting arrested? It went mega viral, and he had PTSD, and he was saying like something along the lines of like, either I'm that guy, I'm the dude, you don't know what I've seen, all these things. And the cops were like, we know, yes, you are. Like they were de-escalating in the way of
trying to connect with them and understand and be sympathetic. Yeah.
Yes, we know you've seen what we haven't seen. We know and when you listen to the audio that you have, it's like this, you ready to go? All right, let's do it.
Right? It's like disgusting.
It's weird.
And there was a moment that people won't hear it in this video, but there was a moment where for hours and hours, one guy's been saying the same thing the entire time. Brent, pick up the phone. That phone's for you. And at some point, Brent says, I'm tired of hearing your effing mouth. And the guy goes, I'm going to keep doing this all night. And he goes at him, just, I'm going to do this all night long. I won't stop talking. Blah, blah. And I'm just like, you son of a bitch. Like, dude, like, let the guy have a break. You've done nothing but yell at him for fucking hours and hours saying the same thing. And he finally's like, I'm tired of hearing it. And he's just like, I'm going to do this all day long. There was no de-escalation whatsoever.
Yeah, it's sad, man. It really is. Yeah. And I know if anybody's in law enforcement or mental health crisis people, we're playing Monday morning quarterback. I hope, DA and I, we can both address that. In general, it's a terrible situation. It's a tough situation. But with that being said, it certainly seems like it was known he was Brent Kopaka. He was a Purple Heart recipient, and he was a combat veteran.
They knew that. Yeah.
And that, I would guess, takes it to a whole new level of instinct on how to de-escalate via training that, quite frankly, I just don't hear.
Yeah. You're right. And so, I don't want to spend too much time on your show talking about this. Are we going to talk about these photos real quick, or did you?
Yeah, I didn't know if that was where you're going, but I'll pull them up quick.
Yeah. Bring up the outer picture of the apartments, the long shot of the apartments real quick. So this is the Coffee House Apartments in Pullman, Washington. The reason why Brent Kopaka's name came up for a lot of people is he was shot and killed 1 month and a couple days after the Idaho 4 murders on December 15th, 2022. The murders, of course, of the Idaho 4 happened on November 13th. 2022. And a lot of people felt like Kopaka's name was tied to the case and that he was maybe killed in relation to this. This happened to be, the standoff happened the same day that Kohberger and his father took off for Pennsylvania. Some people think it was related, the timing with Kohberger leaving. They talk about it when Kohberger and his dad gets pulled over. Remember when Kohberger and his dad get pulled over and they talk about the shooting on campus? This was it, right?
I'm so glad you said that, because that is something that I don't know how it lines up, but not only is it's the same day, correct?
Yeah.
And then Kohberger's dad just so happens to bring it up. The same guy who, after Steve G is front of the Moscow PD, says we might get their DNA from a family member. It might not be him. The same guy who they get the DNA off of a Q-tip out of his garbage.
Yeah.
2,000 miles away, when Brian Kohberger is driving the most wanted car in America on a cross-country 39-hour road trip, and gets pulled over 2 times in 20 minutes for following too close.
Yeah.
And just so happens to be leaving that scene with no blood in the car, no DNA at the scene besides trace DNA and a button of a knife sheath or the loop of a knife sheath, no connection to the victims. The things that connect them all within are all things that they say really are not related, if you think about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, I mean, it's too much for this show to cover all the reasons why people think Kopaka was involved. But like you said, he's a Purple Heart recipient. He had been in 2 different campaigns. He had stars from 2 different theaters. He was in Afghanistan. He was 82nd Airborne. And again, people thought he was the kind of guy that was trained for knife fighting. Like he would have had the skills for Idaho 4. So some people felt that Kopaka was involved in the Idaho 4. He had the skills and the training to do so. And in fact, his best friend said, I think they came here that night. What happened with the standoff, just for people who don't know, is his roommates called. Brent Kopaka was allegedly staying at the coffee house apartments that you see on screen. And they called and said, our roommate's threatening to kill us. He said that if we don't get out of the apartment, he's going to kill us in 5 minutes. That started the phone call. Hours and hours later, after 8 hours of standoff, at about 3-something to 4 o'clock in the morning, there was a kind of a shooting, and Brent Kopaka was shot and killed by a sniper. That's the official story. Rumors have gone around for forever that Brent Kopaka was firing at people in the parking lot. Other people said not a single shot was fired. That never happened. It was all rumor. You can't hear a single shot. I will say there is a gunfight. You hear a gunfight. I think we can put the rumors to bed that there wasn't a gunfight. There was a gunfight. There was rounds fired. It wasn't as straightforward as a sniper shooting, as they say. But before I get into explaining the logistics of what you're going to see, so we can put some other rumors. I just learned some of this stuff today. Is there any other questions you want to talk about specifically, Bertie, you want me to hit on?
Well, I think throughout this, one thing that we should continue to touch on is why is it that people think Brent Kopaka is connected to the Idaho 4?
Well, yeah, I mean, the rumors are many, but again, it's because one, he had a certain set of skills that could have done it. Then two, Brent Kopaka and Brian Kohberger may have both come from Pennsylvania. I've pointed that out many times. They were both their families lived within an hour of each other in Pennsylvania. His mother lives in Pennsylvania, right about an hour from the Kohbergers, or maybe it was an hour and 30 minutes. A crime circus, one of the YouTubers that used to cover the case, showed that Kopaka actually lived in the same town where Kohberger was going to school. There's a lot of connections. And as I pointed out and you saw before, Bertie, we showed where Kopaka told police one time that he lived, which was at the Pimlico Apartments, which is literally across the street from Brian Kohberger. They were literally across the street from each other. You could throw a rock. So what I want to show you, like on these pictures, is this is the window that Bertie's got up on here that allegedly is Brent Kopaka's room that he was shooting out of his window. And it was confusing to a lot of us on the location. But if you were to zoom, can you zoom in on that picture at all, Bertie?
I cannot.
It's probably hard to do that because the way we loaded it. Yeah. So anyways, there's 2 walls. There's 2 retaining walls on both sides. You're looking out a narrow look way. So, or whatever how you want to say. Go ahead and go to the one that's the other image of that window. So that's what it looks like. It's a very narrow, narrow window looking out through this little small gap, right? And so I will tell you back
and forth while you talk.
Yeah. And so what I'll tell you is this is on the 3rd floor window, room 311. And that's where the window that Kopaka had open. He had it open that night and cops could hear him talking. They knew he was crouched down on the floor underneath his window with the lights off kind of thing. And then he started shooting out the window. Those blinds are all fuckered up because allegedly he was shooting a gun out the window and shooting up into the air. So you see there's a lot of stuff torn up at the upper part of those blinds. His glass is all broken out of the window. The one thing I want to point out to you, go back to the other window shot right below, directly below us is the staircase leading up to this apartment. And officers are in that staircase. When you listen to the audio that we're going to show and all the subtitles that I put on, that's where the officers are standing, right below this window. And we were really confused for the longest time because Jordan, the roommate of Brent Kopaka, said that their room was a couple of doors down and he was further away from this. So we were trying to figure out why the SWAT team, which we got video from the SWAT team inside on the 3rd floor, right across the hall from Brent Kopaka with the door open, you can't hear hardly anything, but you can hear it crystal clear from the officers down on the street level. So we were asking, well, how the hell can they hear it so well? Well, because the officers are literally standing right underneath his window. And that's part of the answer why you can hear it so clearly.
Let me ask you this, DA.
Yeah.
Why is it that if this is a screen and this is the sliding window, why is there broken glass here? That's a screen. That's a screen. This is the window that slides. Why is there glass stuck to the screen all right here? That should not
Yeah.
be, because the window, and you want to know how weird it is? It matches the same shape. So somebody make that make sense right from the jump, because
Right. There's so I mean, it's a great observation. There's so many things. Do you see out there in the distance? There's a staircase. That's a staircase directly out the window and trees. And we said, is this on the ground floor or on the third floor? Why does it look like we're on the ground level? You can see the ground right there, and you can see the staircase. And a lot of us were confused about, is this a first floor room or is this a third floor room? I do believe now it's a third floor room, and we're kind of looking down at an angle. And if you were to look at the other video, I think, or the other picture of the window, I think you can see that same staircase a little better, maybe in the distance. But yeah, and all that broken glass on the ledge
is on the inside. It's inside. If
Right.
you shoot a bullet out, it's going to project out, and that screen wouldn't stand a chance.
Right. Well, I will tell you, they launched canisters, what's called a ferret round. They launched a ferret round through his window, and it exploded in his room. And then they launched tear gas, or OC gas, I think it was, maybe pepper spray gas, into his room through the window. So they did launch things through his window in his direction, but he also was shooting out the window, they said. So
that still doesn't explain this glass.
I hear you. there's more questions on this case than you would believe. So anyways, right below, so out there straight across, if you could zoom in, is the staircase again. So that there's that green trees. There's a staircase right to the left of those green trees. So we believe that's kind of what you're looking at when you're looking out the window in that other picture. But anyways, enough of talking. What I want to share with you is, again, rumors have been around for forever that Brent Kopacka never fired a single shot. Rumors also were that a sniper took him out, and that now, by the way, we found clearly on the audio the sniper missed the first shot. The sniper missed the shot, and then they talk about Kopacka still crawling around on the floor, not because he was injured, but because he's staying out of the window. And then the sniper takes a second shot to shoot him. But when we heard what you're about to hear, 8 minutes or so of a standoff where it sounds like they go toe to toe with Brent Kopacka. And by the way, I showed you another picture of a hatchet stuck in the wall. Kopacka had a hatchet stuck in the wall in that same bedroom.
I'll load that up real quick.
Yeah, I don't have it handy. If you got that hatchet picture, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, not cool, but it's like one of those, like, what the fuck happened there?
Explain that while I'm getting this ready.
Well, there's a moment in the audio that you're going to hear. There's a moment where you hear you hear a loud thud, and then you hear "fuck yeah." Sorry for the language, but that's what you're literally going to hear is you hear a loud thud. It's almost like you're hearing that hatchet getting slammed into the wall. Now, why somebody would say "fuck yeah" when they slammed the hatchet into the wall, I don't know, but it sounds like that kind of thing. Like there's a hatchet. And if those who follow the Idaho 4 case, you know that there has been rumors that the girls were not just killed with a knife, but they also might have had axes or a hatchet of some kind used in the. So there's the hatchet. There's the hatchet buried in the wall.
What the hell, dude?
There's a hatchet buried in the wall.
And also, can I just say, guys, I'm going to point something out here. Can somebody tell me why, if this is a door frame, what happens to it down here? Where does the door go? Why does it go directly smoothly to the wall? Why if this is door C and you can see this, what happens to the line down here? And why is this just a wall? Has anybody noticed that? Because that was one of my biggest questions. Where is this door going to? Why is this door not cut out?
So the door, I believe, swings, right?
DA, but why would, okay, so you get a hop 4 feet in the air to get out? Is it a saloon door? Look at it doesn't even go down.
Right. Well, I think, because I try to play devil's advocates, they threw a gas canister type grenade type explosive down the hall. So could it have busted up the door at the bottom of the door?
No,
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. But
I'm talking about this, bro. I'm talking about this
I'm
here.
talking about, look at what I'm talking about.
Practice, playoffs. I'm talking about
yeah,
that.
yeah. I see, like the line that looks like there's a.
Where does the door go?
Yeah. Well, no, because
what the heck?
Because the door swings out the other way, and it's opened, so the door is pressed against it's kind of like a little jigsaw corner there. It's like a 90-degree little corner of the bedroom. And so does that look like it's an, I mean, maybe. Yeah. Scroll to the left of this picture a little bit further. that way towards the window.
Okay.
So if you can scroll in on the window a little bit, that hard edge, that goes in a few feet to the window. See, so there's like an angled thing, and
Yeah.
that door swings open from the hall. So I don't know. I mean, it's a good question, but I don't know. I don't have an answer. The biggest thing I was stunned about is that axe, right? The axe is the part that fucking bugs me so much. But
well, and I understand that this is not the doorway, like this door jam. I'm trying to say, like, even just the depth of what this, it just looks.
It's a flimsy ass fucking door. Look, you can see, scroll up, you can see the door stopper. See the door stopper against the wall where that's supposed to stop the door from hitting the wall.
It's like that's like a piece of plywood thickness.
Yeah, it's super thin door. Super fucking thin door. But anyways, we digress.
Anyways, all right. Well, I got that video pulled up here. Let me get it up.
Yeah, so let me explain a couple quick things real quick. If you pause. So the timestamp in the corner is in Zulu time, 10:59 Zulu, which is 2:59 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on the 15th of December. So that's the time frame for you. We're in that recessed area where Brent Kopac's room is right above us, a couple floors. So that's why you can hear things so well. There's a moment, by the way, just real quick for you as you're watching, because it's not explained in the video. Many people heard when they were watching, listening to audio, what sounded like them saying beanbag, 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 like they were going to deploy a non-lethal round. What I believe you will actually hear is big bang, big bang, big bang. Look at how different those words sound, beanbag and big bang. But you'll see the officers, when they hear big bang, big bang, big bang, they both step the fuck back real quick because they know a big bang is coming in, and they launch a grenade into his window. And then you hear Kopacka say, shit, but it lands inside of his room and it explodes. And then he shoots back at them, kind of thing. So it's a whole fucking game on thing. So listen carefully, watch this, see what you think. We'll talk about it at depth when we get done. It's about 8.5 minutes long, I think.
It's about 8.5 minutes. I'm not going to stop this, DA. I think this is important to let people listen.
One more thing. If you're listening with headphones, be careful. This is really, really loud, and it's loud so that you can hear the talking. So when a gunshot goes off, it's really loud. So be careful with your ears. It could get very loud when you hear gunshots, because gunshots are fucking loud. All right, let's go ahead.
All right. I will sit on my hands, DA. Let's let it go for 8.5 minutes, because I do think letting it play through, you start to realize the progressiveness of the situation more, right? Like, instead of us stopping and talking. So we'll let it do it, and then we'll go break it down. We'll break it down.
For sure.
All right, here we go.
Yeah. That was another shot by him.
That was another one, yeah.
Pullman 456, there was another shot fired.
Still two of you down there?
Yep.
Okay.
Pullman 456, another shot. Damn it. If he jumps down, I'm just playing like this, but he's right there, so we don't really.
You're very scratchy, we can't copy. He's been staying in the bedroom below the window frame. I can see him throw things, but I'm not seeing him. Copy. He's in the living room now. Exit the bedroom with the gun. Black handgun in his hand.
Is that black handgun? Okay.
Free Darren if they shoot him up there, or we're holding our position here until we're told otherwise, okay?
Yep.
He came out again and was back inside.
'Hips are starting to hurt. Happy birthday to me. Zero 0656. Are you back in JRD? Five 6 copies. Make sure.
We're all here.
He's talking to himself now. 07, try a quick calling.
get this guy a cigarette.
You guys good down there?
Yep.
Dude, I'll tell you what. DA, my gut tells me something is very wrong.
Yeah.
Something so wrong to the point where if you have a Purple Heart combat veteran and you're in the police force, see, I always hesitate saying this, but at the end of the day, somebody has to take it for what it's worth. Take it with a grain of salt. I've never been in that position. That's why I say that. But if I have a guy who's served this country and is going through PTSD, I don't know if I'm making a happy birthday joke. I don't know if I'm, I don't know if I'm not completely dialed and just like sitting here, like ready. Like, I hope he doesn't snap. This seems, I don't know.
Yeah, it's tragic. It's disappointing. There's times when you hear them kind of snicker and laugh about what's going on. They even kind of laugh about the explosive round and how he screamed out after he got hit with the explosive round, and they're like, like there's just it's awkward. I don't know, what I would be like if I was a cop in that position. You're under a lot of stress, so I can't say how you would act. I Lord knows I say inappropriate things at inappropriate times, so I don't know. But yeah, it doesn't feel right. I think the guy's idea, so a lot of people take the whole happy birthday to me as like he's somehow like thinking that it's a birthday gift to shoot Kopaka. That's not how I took it. I think it was his birthday, and he's like, so this is how I get to spend my birthday, is sitting all night long in a fucking standoff where my life's in danger. Happy birthday to me. Like, isn't this fun for me? So I don't know that it was a mocking, like I get a birthday present because we get to kill Kopaka, as it was just kind of making fun of the, hey, look what I get to do on my birthday kind of thing. But it was tragic. And by the way, somebody called me on this and said, DA, why don't you tell the truth? He was killed by a sniper. And I'm like, the point is, did that sound like a toe-to-toe engagement? It sounded like they went in. It sounded like he said, are you ready to do this? Okay, then. Are you sure? And then it was on. And you hear explosives and rounds, and you hear shit being fired through the window. You hear slamming. Oh, fuck yeah, screaming. Like, is that a sniper taking somebody out kind of peacefully in the middle of the night? Or was that a fucking toe-to-toe engagement, it sounds like? But
here's what people have to realize is that if you were to take the connection to the Idaho 4 out of this is still an extremely high stake raid. It really is. You take any rumors of him being connected to the 4 kids that were killed, and this is, again, a Purple Heart combat veteran going through PTSD that ends up getting killed in a SWAT standoff. That's a hugely high profile, high stakes, local news, maybe even regional news story. It's terrible, right? But here's what I'm going to say about this Brent Kopaka situation. Hate it or love it, this is the truth. This is how I see it. This is my opinion only. But it's the same pattern, guys. It's the same pattern that we've seen over and over and over again. Same thing with the Las Vegas shooter, same thing with Epstein, the Nashville shooter, the Nashville bombing, the Pentagon on 9/11. You had all these cameras, yet nothing of substance. We'll just redact all the parts that could give you the answers.
Yeah. And it doesn't make sense. They never show Kopaka's face. They have a moment in the evening on body camera where he opens the door and they are toe to toe with him, and they yell him, hey, they tell him, put the gun down. They actually step into his apartment and engage him, and they black box the whole screen. They cover it with a big black box, and we never get to see his face. The only time you even remotely see Kopacka was when they showed a moment with the black box redaction gone, where you see somebody from behind their back. You see a back. We never see Kopacka's face the whole time. Tell me what the purpose is of redacting the face of Brent Kopacka. There's no privacy issue there. It's the whole thing is just weird as hell.
Where's his body?
Never seen it. Right. Yeah.
Guys,
someone told me
there's a pattern. Yeah. There's a pattern though. And we're past the point of public not having access by first person POV video for the news. Okay. There are fights at bars on the low level of extreme. There are drive-bys with ring cameras and other people that are surrounding the area. There are people that terrorist attack in Australia with those 2 shooters on that bridge. They got the whole damn thing. You're telling me that nobody between King Road that night took their phone out their window and got all the ambulances or the cop cars through the windows on their blinds? You're telling me nobody in these apartment complexes was like, holy shit, there's a standoff with this guy. You're telling me none of that? I don't believe that.
There's a crazy, well, here's the thing. There's a crazy moment where a lady, literally, you hear those gunshots going off. There's a moment when an armored car comes out, an armored vehicle, a Bearcat comes out and is in the parking lot. They're taking cover behind kind of thing. Gunshots going everywhere. And a lady literally comes out. You can see her on camera. And she says, hey, my dog really has to pee. Can I take him out and pee right now? They're in the middle of a fucking gunfight. And she literally comes out and is like, hey, can I take my dog out to pee? And they're like, no, man, we're really going to need to wait to take your dog out pee.
Well, it's weird, bro. It's weird because we're in the middle of 2 situations. I think as a public trying to uncover this, we're in the middle of, all right. So if the situation's down the middle, we're in the middle of, on one side, these cops are not trained well enough, whether it's to investigate a murder, whether it's to not contaminate a crime scene, whether it's to handle a veteran with PTSD that's having a mental episode. Okay. That's on one side. Then on the other side, you have to fight with, and you have to at least acknowledge it. Where is any proof that this happened? Where are the bodies? Where are the blood marks? Where are cops who just say, I just killed somebody. Oh my God, I just killed somebody. I just killed somebody. Oh my God. And having their own panic attack on a body cam, like we've seen many times.
Yeah. You know what's funny about that too? You've seen one on our show and on your show and your chat with that. And one's current NYPD. And one of the things he said was, in New York, every time there's an officer involved shooting, they put that out there on the public for the public to see the whole thing. And they show the person's face and everything. I mean, they may redact the blood and gore if there's blood and gore moment or the actual shooting part, but you see the person's face who was involved in the officer involved shooting, and everyone in the public gets to scrutinize that video. So why here do we not get to see anything? I mean, his apartment largely is blocked, so we can't see shit in his apartment.
Nothing in it.
Nothing in it. No furniture. Yeah.
Phone perfectly on the countertop, like a damn Mission Impossible movie. I mean, that's a fact. It's like, and it was scrubbed. And didn't he have a safe or something too that was busted open? That like
his friend said that there was a safe in his room that was open, and all that was in it was like his army, or like, his army discharge papers. And I'm like, isn't that convenient that the only thing that's in a room is his discharge paper saying, hey, look, I'm a vet with PTSD kind of thing. Like, it's like, how convenient that was left behind as the thing that defined in his room. Now there was more there, because I've seen the pictures that they released in the public records request we did of all kinds of shit on the floor. Not just that, but that's what they originally told us was all that was in there was kind of an open safe and a few electronics and his army discharge papers.
So again, I would like to see, I've talked to DA on the phone about this, and I said, I'm a numbers guy, right? I've explained this to you. Like, I was good at math in school, and I like to look at what are the statistics behind kids in college being killed with somebody that has no connection to them, and it going the way that it has. And just it's like the deaths per 1,000 students. And in Idaho, it was like 9.6 to what, 0.7 was what I told you. It was ridiculous. It was under 1. Right. And I'm like,
Right.
that is such a huge jump. And then
Yeah.
I would like to see what are the statistics of veteran PTSD interactions for mental health that end in a fatal shooting that just so happened to have somebody who's wanted for a quadruple homicide in a murder that they say is going cold, that uses IgG when the family calls it out exactly how it's going to happen on Fox News, take a cross-country road trip in the same car they're looking for with the father referencing the shooting of that PTSD victim. What are those odds? You
Right.
put a penny on those odds, you'll retire if somebody would take that bet.
Right.
You
right.
would.
Right. Right. Yeah. And this is the same thing. One of my other panelists say a lot, which is that I say it all the time, but if you took any one thing and then you might be able to have an excuse for some weirdness, but there is weirdness all over these cases, both the Kopaka shooting and the Idaho 4 murder, that doesn't make sense. The number of oddities and shit that doesn't make sense is astronomical. So if it was one thing, we'd all be like, oh, well, there's got to be an explanation. It's just one thing, but it's not just one thing. It's a million things wrong with this whole thing.
Think about let's actually dive into that, DA. That's a really good point. My one thing for this case would be trace DNA. That would be my one thing. 11 out of 12 blood samples, and the only blood sample for a guy that, again, has no connection, all this stuff, they can't put him in the house, is on a movable object. Right?
Right?
That
right?
alone could get headlines. That alone could have the Innocence Project. That alone could genuinely generate a ton of publicity. But
Right.
now you have the mystery of everything. You have the redactions. You have national security. You have all of the alphabet agencies. You have Brent Kopaka and then the victims. I'm sorry, not the victim, the suspected killer's father bringing up said Kopaka.
Yeah.
On the day that it happened, while he gets pulled over 2 times for following too close in 24 minutes. What are those odds?
Right. It's
how many people get pulled over that many times?
Yeah. Yeah. And, to the DNA thing, not to beat the death, but it's not only the only DNA that was there was on a movable object, but how many samples of DNA, of unknown male DNA and mixed DNA on the back of that same knife sheath were tested against Brian Kohberger's alternative suspect list, and they excluded them as possible contributors to this unknown blood. But what they're not telling you is Brian Kohberger also was excluded from being a contributor of that blood, which means it's somebody else's blood they've never even tested. That's what it drives me nuts that people don't stop to realize that. Brian Kohberger was also excluded as being a contributor to that blood, or they would have told you, hey, his blood's all over the crime scene. But it wasn't. Somebody else's is all over that crime scene, and they've never been able to tell you who it was. And people just go, oh, that's okay. We don't need to know who the other blood belonged to.
Well, it's funny you say that. I've been working on having a guest, not from Othram, but from somebody who does. They used to work with Ancestry.com. They're hesitant, and it's a fam. So it's somebody in my family's ex-girlfriend. Okay. Mm-hmm. Random, the most random thing ever. Cause I'm like talking about this at Christmas and Thanksgiving with my cousin. My cousin's in the DEA. And he's like, oh yeah. I used to date blah, 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 blah. She used to work for them. I said, what did she do?
Oh,
and he's like, I don't know if she did the testing, but she could know somebody. So I'm not even able to get a name out of her, which is weird.
That is weird. I mean, people are terrified. People are terrified to talk about the case. They really are terrified to talk about the case.
Well, I think they're terrified to talk about what's the real science, guys.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm not downgrading what do you want to say that? Like the progression in science, the advancement of technology, that's all great and good. Cool. Awesome. It's inevitable. That's going to happen. But how much can you get away with when the general public doesn't understand it? Right? Yeah. It's like I've given this example before, DA. Imagine a Ferrari drops out of the sky in 1720.
Right.
What do they do with it when they've only had horse and buggies?
Right. They wouldn't have a clue.
No. And anybody that learned how to drive it, they'd probably think they were a witch and they'd tar and feather or burn them at the stake.
Right.
because they don't get it. And it's scary when you don't understand it. Right? People don't understand like the alleles. They don't understand the frequency of them. They don't understand a lot of stuff when it comes to a familial tree. How does DNA work?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
science. Sorry.
Yeah,
just
the DNA is horrible. There's even a document where a DNA specialist told the prosecution, don't use the DNA at trial. It's got major problems. And that's why the prosecution said, we have no intention to use the DNA at trial, which is funny because I feel most people in America have convicted Brian Koberger because his DNA was at the scene. And they never intended to show the DNA evidence at trial because they knew the DNA had problems and they weren't going to show it. So.
And I think the way to wake people up to it is to give just egregious analogies.
Yeah,
like
right. Just to kind of let them think about it. Yeah.
How would anybody know how to drive a Ferrari in 1700? How? Well, did they study it? Did they keep it quiet? Did they say, hey, only us, our small group of people we found the user manual. We're going to keep that secret. We're going to teach us all it. And then if the Ferrari drops out of the sky, we can drive it. Everybody else is going to wonder how we know how, but that's our advantage. Right? It's a weird example. It's an extreme example. Or even if you had a Model T and then a Ferrari drops. Imagine trying to fix a Ferrari with a Model T user manual.
Right. Right.
That's like what we're doing here. Like trace DNA and normal DNA, how we look at it, or thumbprints. The IgG level of science and technology is a supercar compared to a Toyota Corolla. It really is, with what the advancement has been to get to be able to use IgG.
Yeah.
DNA markers, family tree, people connected to you that you don't even know that share the same marker. That's wild, bro. And I don't know if people can wrap their head around just how extreme that information web goes.
Yeah.
With the induction of AI into that to help help decipher it.
Yeah. And DNA is going to be a major thing. It's coming up in the long run. Serial killer case again, the DNA and the DNA experts and the science that we want to convict people based on science. Well, the science says you were there, so therefore you must be the killer, and that's horrible logic. Even if science can prove your DNA was at the scene, it doesn't mean you're the killer. And courts have always said that, but they're trying to use this logic now. If your DNA was at the crime scene, then you must be the killer, and that's false logic. That's not how it's supposed to work at all. And like someone said in the chat, by the way, the DNA was used in the PCA in part to convince a judge to sign off on a warrant to go after Koberger. And then once they did, they just said, well, now we're going to ignore the DNA evidence. Like, you used it to convince a judge to make the arrest in the first place. But then when it comes to trial, you're like, we're not going to use that. Well, then why was it in the PCA? And a judge thought you had great science, but you didn't have great science. But anyways.
Let me ask you a question. Okay. Because I just saw it and it went by too quick, but it's a very good question. They made a statement about trusting experts. I'm going to ask you a question off of this. At this point, how can the public start to trust experts through and through, given any field? That's a big problem.
Anymore. Yeah, I can't trust experts. Experts don't mean shit. Like, it's not to say that an expert can't know shit, but bringing somebody in to be your expert doesn't mean shit. Like, everybody knows when you're in a trial, when you say it's the prosecution's expert or the defense's expert, people inherently know, oh, well, I don't give a shit. That's the defense's expert. Of course, the defense's expert's going to say whatever you want to hear. Or of course, the prosecution's expert's going to say whatever you want to hear. Therefore, what you're saying is expert testimony doesn't mean dick, because you still only believe the expert if the expert's on your side of the expert's equation. So.
Well, and I asked that as a leading question because this is something that I've held near and dear to my heart since I've started my channel. And that is that as a public, we need to destroy the illusion of authority, right? We cannot blindly trust somebody because they are a quote unquote expert. That means nothing without evidence. That is, do you realize that the chain of or the process that you'd have to go through to have somebody be an expert on just one single piece of evidence. You send that off to, it's like your taxes and an accountant. If you make $1 million a year and you send it to 200 accountants, you're going to get 200 different ways to save the most money, but they're all experts.
Right.
So
Exactly.
we need to really start, you need to teach the community, teach your kids, teach your family on the basics of this, so that in the minimum, you can hold somebody accountable without this blind trust, right? You could name somebody an expert in the news and they're not an expert. But people who just watch the news that don't look into them would then go on and parrot what this person says or what they've said. And they might not have a degree. They might not know shit, but the news said it's a dangerous game that we are playing. And we need to go back to seizing. The public needs to seize information. We need to do what you did with this body cam. We need to go get it. We need to get it and look at it ourselves.
Yeah. By the way, for those who are interested in that legal fight, so they gave us body cam footage from the Moscow Police Department that was like 90% redacted. Like they show the officers go to the hallway across from Kopacka's room, and then it's black box. Like anytime you're looking in his apartment, anytime you're looking in the room, whatever, it's like super black boxed. And they put an RCW on the screen that says, revised code of Washington, whatever, and they cite it. That particular redaction that they cite says, this is not to be used as a blanket redaction to just blanketly to cover a bunch of stuff. And it specifically tells law enforcement not to use it, in our opinion, the way they just used it, which is to blanket redact the entire video and say, this all falls into RCW, whatever. And so we have filed a Public Records Act violation request to attorneys. We said, look, we believe you violated the law. That particular redaction that Pullman Police is using to say you can't look at anything is a violation of that RCW. Please have your attorneys look at it, because we believe that you just broke the law. So we're waiting to see what their attorney says on that. From what I've been told, when you send it to the attorney, they take it very serious because they're trying to avoid a lawsuit. So they're going to ask Pullman to please re-review your redactions and make sure you didn't over-redact it. So we're hoping that we're going to get new footage. Not that everybody wants to keep reviewing the Kopacka footage over and over and over again, but look, there's large portions we haven't seen. So we are trying to force them to unredact a bunch more of it. There's no reason for them to have hidden it the way that they did.
That's a great point. To put a cherry on top of that, on the importance of it, let's say you were president, DA. Would you have some sort of emphasis or maybe a campaign dynamic to truth tellers, whistleblowers, and not just protecting them and keeping them safe, but rewarding them? Without just like, hey, the reward is that we'll give you all of our abilities to keep you alive, right? Like, what about somebody who exposes bad scientists or bad journalists or people who have been corrupt, and somebody exposes them? Because I believe that the only way to get a truth-telling society is to have a society that is encouraged and is incentivized to out people that are corrupt, where they know they're going to be protected.
Yeah.
They're going to be safe.
Right.
They're going to be rewarded.
Yes. Yeah, you're right. Because I mean, I'll be honest with you. I'm a little nervous, right? I'm filing the start of legal action against people saying, I have reason to believe you broke the law, and so please look into it. And that could get people killed if there's not somebody protecting people who are doing that. You're a public advocate trying to say, look, the public needs to know what really happened. And the answer shouldn't be, you need to be worried about having an accident or a heart attack or dying in some mysterious death because you asked the wrong questions and pissed people off. So that it would be nice if there was protections for people who do. Well, and again, we're being polite. We're just like, look, all we want is the truth. All we want is to look at the files. Just let us see it. Put it to bed. If it really happened the way you said it did, then let us see it with our own eyes and we'll put it to bed. We'll stop talking about it. Just let us see it for our own eyes.
If I ran for president, my slogan would be this: we will reward truth. Because if you've gotten to the point where you're going to whistleblow, guess what? You've realized you're never going to be on a magazine cover. You've probably been threatened, blacklisted. You probably aren't able to, go out in public normally. And you're not expecting some 6-figure check. You're just trying to stay alive. No.
Yeah.
See, we will reward the truth in this administration. That's genuinely what I want to say. Like, we cannot live in a smoke and mirrors society anymore. Real journalists or real journalism is dead because all of the real journalists have been killed. You expose something about, Monsanto or Gaza or Ukraine, you're hanging yourself with an electrical cord and shot 2 times in the head and the stomach with a shotgun, and that's a suicide.
It's a joke, and it's scary. It's super scary. Like the guy not too long ago from Boeing that was going to testify about their airplanes, and he decides to kill himself in the parking lot before giving testimony on the Boeing case. Oh, he killed himself. He decided he just couldn't handle the stress. He was going to come out and whistleblow about how the Boeing did something inappropriate, but he decided to kill himself. Okay, it's all good. Like, no, that fucker was murdered, and almost anybody with 2 cents of brain knows that. But we just go, well, I guess he killed himself.
You have to start to think about, how do you get people to be motivated to tell the truth? Because that's to our entire point. Nobody's motivated to tell the truth because in movies, in articles, on social media, if you tell the truth, you're going to be killed, bro. Keep your mouth quiet. Be quiet. Right. You're going to die. And it's like, there needs to be some sort of honor with truth telling. For example, and I've thought about this for a long time. Not that I'm ever going to run for president, that I would ever be president, whatever. But in my own head, here's what I would do. Okay, first thing, I'm getting rid of it. Actually, if you brake on the highway and you don't need to, you should go to jail for a day. Okay? That's
so you just totally digressed. Okay, first of all, my first thing as president is going to be you fucking hit the brakes on the highway.
That's number one. Number two would be truth telling. Okay, so outside of like braking for no reason on the highway, jokes aside, right? But there's like a Nobel Peace Prize, right?
Yeah.
Where is this National Truth Teller Award? Where is something that's like the guy at Boeing? You're going to be recognized. You blew the whistle that saved lives.
Yes.
Where is that from a president that would genuinely get people to feel not just honor and safety, but pride that this truth on what's becoming a corporate, like a corporatocracy world, a one world via corporate takeover of all governments. Where is that honor that the United States of America gave me the National Truth Teller Honor Award, where I saved countless lives all over the globe because I exposed this company's wrongdoing?
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. We need to celebrate that kind of stuff. People, I mean, people who, I feel like anybody that's in the Innocence Project that's exonerated one person that was wrongfully convicted should get major awards. Like, it's a major thing to correct an injustice. Somebody's life has been ruined, and to correct that is a major thing. But it needs to go, for me, it needs to go beyond that. It needs to go beyond correcting the poor SOB that went to jail and had his reputation ruined. It needs to put all the motherfuckers in jail who put that guy in jail. That's where it needs to go further. It needs to go further.
So not only will there be legal protection for people that are telling the truth, we're going to audit and investigate and prosecute all those SOBs that tried to stop them from telling the truth. Yeah. That's what it needs to get to.
Right.
And you know what? Not just prison. Let's bring back hard labor. Okay.
Federal pound me in the ass prison.
Yeah. Pound the rock with a sledgehammer. We'll get you safety glasses and some gloves. But you're going to hit this rock until it cracks.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I wish there was things that we could do to push, for legislation to change the way that we do things. It's funny because I never viewed myself as an advocate, even though I'm called the devil's advocates, but I never viewed myself as an advocate, but I'm more and more starting to think about legislation that we can do to fix things. I've got a million things in my mind as I become a true crimer. grand juries is a problem that we need to fix in America. A grand jury prejudices people. They think that because a grand jury indicted somebody, that means they must be guilty. And the saying in the law profession is, a grand jury will indict a ham sandwich. It literally doesn't mean shit, but we think it does. And so there's so many things we need to do to fix the legal system. So what are you laughing about?
Guys, I'm not referring to a chain gang coming back. Okay. Like, I saw way too many comments of that. No, I'm saying rather that these people
Working on the chain gang.
Yeah. These people who are very rich shouldn't get just a blase type of prison stay. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They should have to do something, whether it's a white collar crime and yeah, maybe it's a non-violent offense.
Well,
no.
Let's bring this back to Idaho 4 for a minute. We started to compile. I want to get this on my website as soon as I can. All the people in the Idaho 4 case that retired or resigned.
Somebody just said, boo. What is happening?
So was that in your chat or my chat?
Yeah, it's in my chat. I don't know why somebody would say boo to that, but Christ.
Anyways, I think about all the people that retired, resigned, or moved on to a different position immediately after Brian Kohberger's plea deal, or even before, like the judge that retired, Judge who left before it went to trial, and you have to wonder, because here's what's happened: there's no accountability. If, for example, for God's sake, Brian Kohberger's conviction gets overturned because we find out they did something wrong, all the people who helped put that guy away will have been moved on. They'll moved on. They'll have retired. Their pensions will be protected. They'll be, you know what the answer will be? Oh, well, that guy's already gone. He's no longer in that position, so we don't need to do anything about it. So they protect themselves by immediately retiring under good circumstances with their full pension. If they stayed in the position and then found out that they were responsible for railroading in jail, they lose their pension. They wouldn't have a lot of stuff, but they all bail immediately. And then there's never any holding them to the fire afterwards.
Well, and that's because there's a rather simple statement, DA, and it's the truth. It does not belong to bureaucrats. The truth does not belong to fact checkers. The truth belongs to people like you and me and everybody tuning in right now. It belongs to the people. That's who the truth belongs to. That's who the money belongs to. That's who our public rules belong to. It's us. And as I've stated many, many times, this case is the biggest red pill in the world for if you can't see that these people do not give a damn about what the public says and they say, you shut up. We'll shame you. We'll deploy our bots. You can't think like that. How dare you ask that? You're making them not able to grieve. You're blah, 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 blah. No, you know what? It's like, I can't. I can't take it anymore. Right. You've bent us over enough. Okay. Yeah. And now we're past the point of complying. We are past the point of just saying, yes, okay, fine, we'll shut up. I'm so sorry. No. F you, dude.
Yeah.
Who are you? What, you got voted by some people that probably never listened, and all of the friends in the same friend group just said, oh yeah, I'm going to vote for him because this person did that, blah, 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 blah. And they don't even know. No, like it's a joke. We need to start taking things so much more serious when it comes to law and order. And I'm not talking for being more strict. I'm talking for truth. We need real outcomes, guys. We need to show these people covered up X amount of violent crimes, X amount of financial crimes. We need now law and order for the people that were giving us law and order. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly it. We need to hold people accountable for attempting to cover up. We need to hold people accountable for attempting to lie about things. We need to hold people accountable for hiding exculpatory information that would have made a difference in a person's defense. That's at the heart of a lot of our cases that I follow is them purposely hiding exculpatory information so that the public doesn't know, hey, if you had known all the facts, you might have said, wait a minute, maybe the guy didn't do it, but let's just hide it, redact it, put it under a wall of secrecy, say you can't have it, and then say, trust us, bro. Trust us. We got it right. We got the bad guy.
I want to ask a question here. And Dia, I'm going to ask you, I'm going to ask the chat via a poll.
Everybody likes a good poll.
Have you...
I'm sorry. Welcome to Monday night.
Focus,
All right.
birdie. Focus. Okay. So
I'm looking forward to seeing the poll, though.
Okay. All right. So, genuine question for you. In your life, have you ever known that what somebody's talking about is wrong, factually wrong, but because out of respect that you have for them and your friendship, even though they are telling you something, you've not gone above and beyond to correct them because maybe you're sitting amongst other friends, you're sitting amongst their friends. Have you ever just gone along with it and not said, well, not to be abrasive here,
right?
That's not accurate. Have you done that ever?
Have I ever withheld correcting somebody when I know they said something wrong? Yeah, I have. And unfortunately, I'm ashamed to say it because you're right. There's, when you like somebody and respect somebody a lot, and then they say something really, really horribly wrong, it still feels bad to say, well, actually you're not right about that one. It's hard. And so it's easy to kind of shut your mouth. Honestly, I feel maybe, I don't know. I'm sure I'm guilty of that plenty in my life, but.
Well, and I am too. And I think that the first step is admitting it. And so the poll that I was going to say is type of 1 if you have called somebody out, and type of 2 if you've not. Like, what would you do more often? What would you do more often? I would even say on my end, up until probably a year ago, I would let it go.
Yeah.
I've lately been trying to not.
I will say, I mean, I know you're trying to get that poll out, but I trying to get your poll out. But the point being, I have called people. I have corrected. I wouldn't say call people out, but I feel I've been on the show with people like you. I've been on the show with people like Dago. I've been on the show with other content creators. And if they say something that I feel like we've proven is not true, I don't have a problem saying, actually, by the way, I used to think that too, but I saw this, this, and this. So I've done that before. I've fact checked my friends, my YouTube friends, and say, hey, I'm not sure what you just said is still accurate because of this is what I saw. So it's not like I cowardly don't correct people if I think they're wrong. But I know that I have been guilty of not correcting people in the past, especially. I'm getting more confident in correcting people, but
I think that a big piece of that is if it was me and I'm trying to be self-aware, and this is one of those moments where if I'm way off, you could tell me, but I think that I'm open to hearing that. And I think that, and vice versa. I know you're open to hearing that. And that's because we have a give and take. It kind of goes back to like, that's why you and I were not necessarily ever hardcore calling anybody out, because there's this understanding of I'm working my ass off, and everybody in the Hive's working their ass off to try to find the truth. And I know everybody on your channel's doing the same thing. And there's a mutual respect for opinion.
Right. Exactly. And I think there's nothing wrong with being wrong if you're wrong. And I think that we need to check our egos at the door and say, I could be wrong. I could be wrong about the threads that I'm pulling. And you may be right. And honestly, I've said it a million times with other creators. If their theory, which I've never followed, is correct at the end of the day, great for them. Like I'll celebrate them and say, good job. I'm glad that somebody figured out the truth. I don't give a shit if it has to be me. I don't have an ego that needs to be the guy that broke the case. If somebody else breaks the case, so be it. And we'll just talk about it, because I'm a commentary channel. I'll just talk about how cool it was that you broke the case. I don't have to be the ego guy that's the one that broke the case.
I agree, man. I agree. And I can't remember. Did I already talk about Chrissy's chaos or no?
No, not tonight. You haven't tonight. We've talked about it in private a little bit. Yeah.
So this is so cool, Hive. Let me show this. So if you guys remember, I had shown Chrissy's chaos with the WSU mom clip. I'm going to play a small clip of this. Okay. I'm doing this because I want to give gratitude to everybody that tunes into myself, just knowing that what Lee and I just talked about with, okay, we're not first, but we support each other. We respect the right to a difference of opinion based on an understanding that everybody's working hard, right? Like, it's hard to argue against somebody you know is working hard and not just parroting something. So I'm going to play this, and then I want to just go into how incredible what played out really is. I understand not showing somebody's full video and going to their page to get the views and do all that. I know Christy tunes into the Hive, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, Christy, when I say this. I hope that people in here, you're at almost 2,000 subscribers. I hope that after tonight, you're over 3,000. Please go like these videos, subscribe to Christy. She has been on her grind getting these old clips, and it's unmatched. Going back to the beginning is so important in this case to reference information that has finally just come out. So I don't know if Christy's tuned in right now, but show her some love if she is, or if she's watching on replay. I got the comments up on the screen. Thank you, Christy, for doing this. It is huge. This is amazing, and I don't want that to go unrecognized. So I said that on the 14th, which was 5 days ago. Christy was at 1.99 subscribers, and 5 days later, she's over 3K, guys. So
that's awesome.
I'm not taking credit for that because I gave my subscription to Christy, meaning I press subscribe, I hit like, that's one. But that means that there are people that watch that clip and they felt like, you know what? I want the truth, and I want to support people that are after the truth. And so I wanted to highlight that, not just for Christy and how incredible that is that her work is being recognized, but I wanted to highlight you all in the chat because that's awesome. Like, that's badass that happened. In 4 days, somebody gained over 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And you guys are going to see what happens when people get recognized for hard work. Just think about yourself in your own life. You're more motivated. You work harder, you work longer, you do the extra thing that's going to make a difference. And so to Christy, congratulations. And thank you again. DA, I know, you know what I mean by that. When you get respect, or when you give the respect and you know it's reciprocated by people that tune in, it's the best feeling in the world. And it's really just wholesome to see, and it's great. And I don't want that to go unrecognized either.
Yeah, and real quick, thank you, by the way, for the people on my channel giving some gifts and some love for my channel. Birdie gave me a launch, just like Birdie did for Christy. You know, Birdie was a much bigger channel than me when we met up, and Birdie saw something in me that he liked, and I feel like I did the same thing for other people. I've seen other content creators that are smaller channels than me, and I've tried to mentor them and bring them up, kind of thing. So I feel like there's a pay it forward kind of thing that we try to do, but I think all of us need to be like that and to recognize people who are working their asses off and doing good things. And so likewise, Birdie, thank you for everything that you've done for me. You gave me an amazing sizzle reel that, early on, like I said to you one time, I was like, oh my God, like, you're so polished. You got this great sizzle reel. And you're like, I'll make one for you. And I'm like, are you shitting me? Like, how much do I don't have the money to pay you. And you're like, dude, it's free. I just think I believe in what you're doing. That shit's badass, dude. Badass. You help people that you think are doing the right thing. And so kudos to you. And thank you for helping me out. And thank you for the subscribers on my side that are saying that they love having found me through, a lot of them found me through you, Birdie. So appreciate it.
Well, thank you for saying that. Here's what I'll say. There are so many people in life that are capable, but they never get just enough recognition to get them over the hump. And so if I feel like somebody's doing that, and I hope that it's vice versa, if somebody feels like I'm doing that, there's nothing but good that comes out of that. It's really not. And so
yeah,
I try to never hate on people. There's a couple people that I've lost my damn mind on. Okay.
Yeah,
but they're past the point of no return, because at a certain point it's on principle. But you know, DA, you've crushed, man. You've been awesome. You've grown your following. You're doing awesome. I know you know how much I love and respect you outside of streaming. We're buddies.
Yeah.
And to everybody in the chat, I just want to tell you guys too, like, DA and I, through doing these streams, we talk a couple times a week we text. Like I said, when I tell you that he's my long lost uncle at Thanksgiving, that everybody in our family would have just a terror about talking about whatever topic. I mean that. And I appreciate you, DA. I appreciate everybody that's tuned in tonight. It's great to be back after 3 days off. Tomorrow night, do not miss the stream. I had the realist Jess, the real Jess Rains on, who gave kind of a new theory about the audio. Well, I have the audio. Somebody in the Hive, and I wasn't aware that Jess was going off of somebody's audio in the Hive. So I'm going to play this audio with captions. And when I connected the two dots, I was mind blown. So that's what tomorrow night's going to be about, is going into what Jess talked about, where you can hear gurgling and you can hear two men, walking in, and Ethan saying, I'm going to call 911, and the whole explanation on, well, Dylan didn't call 911 because she just saw what happened to Ethan that said he was going to call 911. And this whole theory, right? I'm going to play the audio. So many people asked for it. And quite frankly, I wasn't aware that was what that theory was based off of. Okay. But that's what tomorrow night's going to be about. I'm excited for it. And DA, if you got any closing thoughts, the floor is yours.
No, I don't have any super closing thoughts, although I just want people to know, for the people who are wondering why I'm still beating the Brent Kopacka thing, is I just feel like in this case, I want to put the Brent Kopacka situation to bed. That's why I'm looking into it. That's why I went after the public records request. That's why I'm fighting for the redactions, because I don't feel like they told the truth on that. It may have nothing to do with the Idaho 4, and I want, for Brent and his family, I want to prove that's true. I really do. I really want to stop talking about Brent and suggesting that he might have been involved if he wasn't, because I'm tired of people saying, leave the poor guy alone. He's a vet. I have sympathy for him. Listening to what the fuck he went through that night breaks my heart. Now, if he's a killer, then that might change it, but I don't know that he is. And that's why I just want the truth. All I want is the damn truth, and I want to put it to bed. So thank you all for those who understand why I'm on the Brent Kopacka thing. I want to put that to bed. And until I get the answers, I can't put it to bed. So
amen to that. I appreciate you, DA. I appreciate everybody in the Hive. Guys, please take 2 seconds before you exit out. Hit the like, hit the subscribe button. That helps DA and I out a bunch. I keep all my streams free. And I know, DA, you do memberships too. So you did a members only live. And I'm not too familiar with memberships, but if you want to plug your members only thing right now too, real quick, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's super cheap. It's $2.99, and there's a reason why I do it. I want you to understand, because like Birdie makes a big deal, and I think it's the right thing. Everybody makes a different decision. Birdie says all the time, all my shit's for free, and I respect that. All your shit's for free, and I don't think you like putting things behind a paywall. There's only one reason why I put a $2.99 paywall on stuff, because I'm a receipts kind of guy. I don't like to say something that I don't feel very strongly is true. I don't like to just speculate on shit. And so what I do allow on the members only area is for you to hear me speculate about some shit. I'll do that behind the paywall and say, look, if you want to hear what my thoughts are before I cement it, then pay $2.99, join a members only live. I've done like 15 to 20 hours of live body cam breakdowns of the Kopacka shooting, losing my mind on shit. Oh my God, did that officer just say that he's been dead for several hours? What the fuck? And I lose my mind. And then after I compose myself, okay, hold on. And I don't go public with it until I thought about it. So if you want to hear me lose my shit live, that's what the members only lives are about.
No, and I think there are different, it's different ways to go about it.
Yeah.
Right? But no, I wanted to make sure you had a moment to do that. And again, Hive, tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Central, don't miss it. I'm doing an audio breakdown. Hit like, hit subscribe, send this to your NPC normie mouth breathing friends that only watch the mainstream news. Have empathy for them. They're brainwashed. Okay. Try to wake them up. We have no refunds on the red pills. With that, I hope everybody has a great rest of their night. Go Hoosiers. I am excited to watch the IU Miami game. Nobody tell me the score right now. I'm going to exit off before I even read the comments. I'm covering it up with my hand. And DA, I will see you in 2 Mondays. Hive, I will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Central. Cheers, everyone.
All right. Go Hawks.
Yeah. See ya. Bye.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky. a new dawn. It's a new day. It's a new life.